Hello academics and welcome back. Today we are going to focus on parking. That is something that I have noticed. We have not dealt with any parking ever, really. So you have people parking all the way out here, and I'm pretty sure whoever owns this lives somewhere in the city, actually right there. Alright. And there's lots and lots of parking being occupied. Look at the area around the farms. Well, this might be quite a nice walk for the Rosales family that lives in that. Wow, that's actually quite a hike from here over there. I'm saying quite a hike. If you go direct path from here all the way over to this, it is a kilometer, well, less than a kilometer as the bird flies, but if you take all the corners into account, it'd be about a kilometer walk. That's a bit over half a mile, or would that be like 2/3 of a mile, which is a good amount of walking, to be honest. And especially in a snowstorm like this, you wouldn't wanna do that kind of walking overall. So we need to figure out some parking. So let's first take a look into our parking options. And I have no clue, as you can tell, parking spaces, they're all here, they're all locked. So that's the first thing that we need to do. Go into our developmental tree and unlock the parking areas. We could also unlock the underground parking buildings, but let's not do that for now. Let's actually first have a look of what we have. We do have large parking lots, which are quite humongous. We have another large parking lot, which is very large parking lot and large parking lot. So the large parking lot is a little bit better. It can fit, I actually don't know how many cars it can fit. Interesting. So let's have a look. Realistically speaking, this one will not actually hold that many parking spots. So let's look into parking buildings instead. We do have our massive overground parking, which is probably a bit overkill, but we do have something like the multi-level parking, and that is maybe something we could actually place over here. Now this would delete one of the houses over there, but in all honesty, I think that would be okay, considering the density over here. So we have a bunch of these low-income houses and a bunch of our medium density housing over there. So getting that in might actually not be too bad. Now it does cost quite a bit in terms of upkeep. We are still making a good amount of money though. So instead, we could consider putting in small parking buildings, which could actually be quite beneficial over next to our hospital. I could see the hospital actually requiring a bit more parking space. So what we're going to do over here is actually take this little park, our small playground, and we're going to try to fit it into this gap, which in all honesty should fit in perfectly. So let's turn off the snapping. This way we can get this in. Just need to, okay, the entrance was over here. So if we do it like that, we can plop it in there. It fits in quite nicely. Kind of completes that area too. And more importantly, we can now put in a little alleyway, because I don't want the parking to offload directly onto the street. So we're going to put in a little alleyway here, and that should allow us, hopefully, to put in our smaller parking lot on that street. We do have a good amount of space around it, which will also allow us to put a few more pedestrian paths in here. We're gonna have a way just across there and another path just down here, which should then also allow us to put a little bit of foliage in this area. Let's put in some adult trees, and maybe let's just stick to the spruces. We can actually use the line tool for that. Keep things a little bit closer. And I need to turn off the saplings, but we can even put them even closer together. Let's see how this works. Now this creates kind of a nice barrier just around these walking paths, which I think will overall be quite beneficial. Now there's not much space over here, and I don't know if we can even get any bushes in there. We can, so we will. What is this? Cultivated green bush. Anything with flowers? We can even put stuff in with flowers. Let's put this all the way through here. That tree is actually in the way. So let's remove you. We're gonna leave you in here, and looking at this, I see that it's a little bit crooked, but we won't take it too personal. Alright, so let's put in our bushes over there, create a nice little walking barrier over here, and then see if we can't fit in. Maybe we can actually put in some trees just behind the hospital, which will be awesome. And here we go. So we now have a nice like tree line behind the hospital, kind of making this a very nice walkway for our pedestrians. So having done all of this, we actually do have quite a bit of space over here. So let's see if we can't put in some parks. Could put in some tiny parks. Do we have anything nice that fits in there? So I know we have a playground over here, small playground, which we should probably just face on the opposite side. So it's not right off that, I guess it's still an alleyway, but I think that will be a little bit nicer, should be less traffic. Square pocket park, urban pocket park, oh, maybe. Yep. This fits in very nicely right here, and it created some weird connections through there. But for now, we'll just leave it. Okay, so this is... Why is there a burning trash can in there? Probably some kind of homeless issue, but I guess that is just what it is. We do also have a bit of space over here, so let's, while we're in the process of beautifying things, let's go into here. Should have made sure that the line tool is on. Right back there. Let's actually put in some more spruces, just to keep it consistent. And with that, this area over here, I think at least looks a little bit nicer. We still have a weird tree over there. It's a poplar, just as these. So let's just say that kind of grew over there. Alright, that was not the point of this episode, but the best thing is we do have now some parking in here. We're going to reduce the cost, maybe just to $3, so people are more inclined to utilize that area. But we do need some parking, especially for our low rent housing areas. So I am coming back to this corner, and I think putting in our multi-layer parking facility would probably make a lot of sense. So let's go back to page 2. Now this does cost 200,000. This apparently is cheaper, which is quite interesting, but way too big. We do have our underground parking that we could unlock, and you know what? Let's unlock it so we can have a look at it. The automated building is way beyond the scale of our current village or city. So let's unlock the underground parking, and that has actually a very nice footprint, to be honest. Now, still not entirely sure how many cars it will actually fit, but we could actually consider it No, we don't want to utilize our park area over here. But what if we were to put it... Oh, that fits perfectly. I don't have enough money for it, but look at how perfect it fits in here. And if we turn this around, we even have it very close to our park, which would be beautiful. So in real life, I don't think eminent domain would be used like this. It is 200,000. We do have 200,000 now. It's the same upkeep as the multi-level parking building, which would also fit in here, but I don't really like the look of it that much. So yeah, but we need some parking in that overall area, considering we're planning ultimately to increase the density over here. So I think it makes a lot of sense. Now, underground or overground? Actually, with a city of this size, I would not expect to see any underground parking. So we are going overground, and we're going to put it over here, which will give us also a little bit of separation between our highway entrance and our city. We're also going to leave a little bit of space right next to this. They're already building, so I'm quickly going to pause. And we're going to delete this house over here, just to go ahead and remove these zones. And we can actually also remove these. They're not serving any purpose. Okay. So we do have what looks to be like an exit over here. So I think it would be good. Well, first of all, reduce the parking to $3 as well. So I think it would be good to actually go in here and put an alleyway up there and connecting it over here, which gives us access to that exit over here. And over this side, we do have... What is this? We do have this random piece of whatever totally blocking off our entrance to the garage. Sorry, parking lot. So we're also going to add this over here. Now we still have this on that road. Not great, but I think we're just gonna leave it at that. Now this stub is, in my opinion, a little bit too big, so we're going to reduce the size of this. And one of the reasons why I want to put this in there, first of all, we do have a road crossing over here, although before it was just a sidewalk, but it should allow us to place a park, even if it's just a pocket park, over here, which hopefully makes our citizens a little bit happier. Let's see, this small park would kind of work, so would this. At the moment it clashes with the parking lot, park building, so we're just gonna, let me actually just stop the snapping. I'm gonna put this in over here. And with that, we have a little bit of a chill out area, although not particularly beautiful, right next to the parking lot and right next to our highway entrance. So there's something we need to do about that, meaning we need some bushes. Wild green bush sounds good to me. Do we have any other? Nope. So let's definitely use our big wild green bushes. And similar to before, this time we're going to try sort of this curve tool. Need to reduce. It is actually as small as it gets. What about this one? That looks a little bit better. What if we do it like there? You know what? Regular straight line it is. Just gonna add this through here. Connect this part all around there. Just again to give a bit of separation. And I would imagine there being a much denser hedge almost between that part here and this road over there. Or also just to make things a little bit nicer. We're going to add some bit of manicuring in there. But instead of the line tool, we're just gonna place it just a little bit through here, trying to almost create a zigzag pattern, making this entire area hopefully a little bit more appealing to our citizens. Now hold on, pause. Now these, seems like they needed that space. I don't know what happened to this road system over here. Just because I put in this little lane, it changed the... Interesting. It did change the orientation of our zoning. So let's put in a little path there. And now let's ultimately fix our zoning. This was the German medium density housing. Gonna add you in here, you back there. And the problem is actually not that it needed this. It is now zoned to this area right here. So let's put in another path over there. That should have in theory solved it, but it also removed still some of the zoning underneath. What's happening here? You should have... Interesting. Kind of deleted a bit of the zoning underneath this building, which is very unfortunate. So let's remove both of you, get a bigger housing in, and we consider this just a little bit of a walkway, not an alleyway. So we're going to put a little path through here. Oh. Now that destroyed all of this. Shouldn't have messed with it. Alright, you know what? We had a road over here that worked. And then we can put the little path, well, back in here. And then we're going to redo the zoning on these houses. So that kind of worked. And whoa. Okay, quick shock, all solved now. Good. Now I think I should be able to delete this again, and our houses over here are happy. And we have now fitted in the parking lot over here. Okay, so it will probably take a while before these cars will actually move away. Still making a good amount of money. And we have put a parking lot over here. We have one more now over here. But we definitely need some parking around our school. And this will be a bit more tricky, but I think where we're gonna place it, we're gonna put it right behind the school. So unfortunately I had to remove a house over here. We're also gonna go into our level terrain tool, which is here. Just gonna fix that over here, make this a lot smaller, and then smooth that part out, which did not work at all. So instead we're raising the level to the same height. And I think that actually doesn't look too bad. Okay, this gives us a tiny space in the back here. So let's go back into our parking lots. We're running a little bit low on money, way too big, way too big, way too big. I was hoping. So we could put this in here. It would destroy that one house up there, but create, I want to say, a good amount of parking spots down here. We could also put this in here. Still destroy quite a bit. Which one? What is this? Small solar panel covered parking lot. What about the canopy covered parking lot? No, I don't like the way this looks. Let's actually turn the switch to the road back on. And it looks like I would have thought the entrance was not on this side, but apparently I was wrong. So we can put in a small parking lot right here, but I don't think this is going to be enough space. So let's go into this parking lot. Turn the snap to zoning off, snap to the road off again. Put this in here, which destroyed one house up there, but overall I want to say, wow, that's very wonky. So yep, we're gonna remove this, wasting a bunch of money, but ultimately it will be fine. We're going to flatten this out. And also at the same time, make the brush size even smaller again. Mellow this part out over here, but this obviously not very realistic. Bit too harsh a cliff, although they do have hedges in the back there, which overall not too bad, so they wouldn't actually fall down here, as well as that fence. Although if you look on this side, not entirely sure what's going on. There's a little bit of a retaining wall going on here. Interesting. So let's make that even smaller. Try to mellow out the bottom over here. Still a little bit of a retaining wall. This kind of dip that they have now in the back. Let's try to raise this. And it might actually be the tree that's causing this. And it doesn't seem like I can fix this. Interesting. Alright, so they have one weird backyard corner, but it is the backyard, and it doesn't really affect their little shed over here. Just a little bit, I guess. And over this way, there's no real cliff. So I want to say that's good enough. So let's go back into our parking, see if we can't fit it in there now. It's a bit too deep though, isn't it? To be honest, I can still kind of see it. Not this very last parking spot. Wow, now this is a no-go. Alright, placed it twice, removed it twice. So let's go in and fix hopefully our area over here a little bit. Just raise it up, push it a little bit further out. Still this weird corner. Probably would need to delete that path to get over there. But you know what, we'll take it for now. So instead what we're going to do, I'll leave it running because we do need the money to do all of this. Let's try to put this in here and then see if we can't put in one of our smaller sideway parking lots. Over this way. Now this kind of works, but it is way too steep. What about this one? Maybe we could fit this in here. Alright, let me remove this part again. And see if we can't put this in here. This won't do. I mean, first of all, the roads are super weird, so definitely no. Which means I need to stop trying to put in these large parking lots and instead, you know what we can do though? They added these new streets with the parking on the side. What if we do this and create sort of a custom parking lot? Just like that. And you know what? That actually looks pretty okay. We're just gonna add a bit of a path from here, connecting these two up basically. Just remove all of the snapping, connect it all through there, and here we go. Now we have a bit of parking over there. Well, this is called Bird Street. I would just consider it being a regular parking lot. All right, we do have some parking over at the cemetery, which people could use. There's a good amount of traffic coming this way. Surprised, but I guess why not? So what other parking do we need to fix? Can we fix? I think this area over here might warrant even another parking lot. And maybe over here, this long parking lot that we tried to just fit into the other side. Oh, let's actually turn on the contour lines, because I think that makes a lot of sense. We could instead actually turn this. No, we don't want too much more parking on this road. So let's look into here again. Moderate sized parking lot that actually fits in perfectly behind there. It is an entry through here, but overall that is fine. And we just consider this like an overflow parking lot from this area right here. And they can actually even get in from both sides, which I think is quite beneficial. So let's leave it at that. We do have a bit of a space over here right next to our fire department. Now that can be a parking area. So let's look into what we can really fit in here. There's a modest parking lot. Anything bigger than that? So that won't work. That's the one we just tried to put in. Actually, this over here might not be a bad idea. So let's put it in there. Another parking garage, parking building. Let's first, before we place it, look at our terrain. It's a bit wonky, but actually overall not too bad. So now let's get in here and put in that parking lot right there. All right, there's actually a good amount of people walking over from our local bus station over that pedestrian bridge. Look how awesome that is. Just walk in, getting home, using that really nice bridge, completely removing the traffic from underneath. Awesome. All right. Anyways, enough goofing off, or, looking around. So let's see what we can do over here. Now, this is the back of these buildings, right next to our pedestrian zone. So maybe, actually, a 2-lane road with parking might not be the worst idea over here. It won't fit in perfectly without destroying our office buildings over here, but we could turn this entire road into a 2-sided parking. Yeah, let's not. Let's see what else we have. We did have another really big parking or really long parking area right here. It would also fit in perfectly over our office buildings, which might actually make a lot of sense. It's hard to retroactively fit them in. We do have some trees over here. I don't want to remove that, this little park area. I don't want to try to keep it. What about this area right here, actually? I thought this should have filled in, but it didn't. So maybe it's time to remove this and turn this into a parking lot right off our pedestrian zone. Let's have a look into our parking facilities. What about that? Is way too big. No, this obviously wouldn't work anywhere here either. Instead, what we're going to do, I'm going to add these back in. Those the German mixed use buildings, so that can fill in at some point. And I think these stores over here, they might actually not make a lot of sense. These, considering these are gas stations when there's basically no parking, and don't know how realistic that is. So let's see if we can't fit a smaller parking lot in here after all. It needs to be facing the side. We could even consider turning this into a real path if this fits in here. And you know what? It does actually fit in here. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. Remove this, quick pause, put in a alleyway that connects this up. And then we are going to add our beautiful parking lot that I've already forgotten which one it was in here. And don't tell me it's not fitting in there anymore. It has an issue with this corner, which probably means I'm going to pause this for now. Probably means there is a node issue. So let's quickly remove this. Reconnect this up here. All the way through. And then we're gonna do our pedestrian street, which is over here, just from there to connect it fully up. Now everyone is kind of happy except these buildings, which I don't quite, I see, which we can relatively easily fix. Put in some roads over here and put in our zoning, put back our zoning in right there. All right, so this kind of worked out. Now I can delete this again, which should allow these to connect up. So, next step, we're going back to our alleyway, connect this up right here into there. And now let's try this again with our parking lot. Not here, over here. Which won't allow us to put it in right there unless we turn off the snapping, and I think it will be fine. Trying to straighten it out, and now it's like a little bit wiggly wobbly until we find a good spot, and here we go. We have a parking lot over here, a little bit crooked, overall not too bad. Still right next to our shop, which makes sense, I want to say. And we're gonna put in a few more trees for landscaping. They are way too big, so let's go with our beloved spruces. Make a little bit more space in between, 8 meters. Go all the way as much as we can. This looks like we need a bit more spacing. Kind of just straighten it out. And at this point, I'm gonna do this by hand. One here, one here, one here. I'm gonna leave a little bit more space between the last one over there, so we have a bit of separation going on. All right. So let's have a quick look at our parking situation. Parking. We have a bit here, bit there, bit there, over here. We have created a manual one in the corner right here, which I think overall is not too bad. Our industry areas should get parking spots as well. And this is the last ones we're going to do. Moderate parking lot, wide parking lot. Let's actually just turn the snapping back on. I think they do deserve larger parking lots. So we're going to put these in, but we don't have enough money, so we need to wait an hour each. But I think one over here kind of makes sense. This way we can also wrap our grid around this parking lot. And then we want to put another parking lot just like this in, and I want to say right next to our incineration plant. Very large parking lot would also work over here because we do have the space, and that actually fits in 2 of our grid pieces. So I think doing that again makes a lot of sense. With the very large would actually kind of make sense over here, but I feel like this is too small for this. So we're going to focus on the large parking lot right there. Now people have an area to park. Should in the long run consider a parking lot over here as well. Small gravel, which actually fits in nicely over here, but let's not try to do this. What about this one? Could put that in here, don't think it needs it. Instead, we're gonna place a parking lot right there, giving a bit more parking for our bus depot people. And now the last thing will be on this corner over there. And just to speed it up, let's take out a little bit of a loan. That was not enough. Add another 50 to it. We should be okay in terms of paying it back. And now we can put a very large parking lot either right here, or we could try to put it in over here, to be honest, and sort of manage this part. But I think let's leave it over here. Put it in right there. And now we're also big town, which gives us 200 grand, more development points and more areas to buy. We also got the UK city apartments, excellent, which will be a future stuff. That is now a massive, massive parking lot. But considering it should also serve our incineration plant, I think it's fine. With all that money, we're going back into the loans, paying back everything that we can to increase our hourly income. And with that, I think we've done a really good job at putting parking lots throughout our city, hopefully reducing the overall burden. And in the long run, I think we need to figure out another spot over here to put in some more parking. But I think this would happen once we're turning this part into a higher density, so nothing to worry about right now, but we will keep that in mind. All right, with that, I will end the episode. We've done what we set out to and did a little bit more of decoration around it as well. I think it's starting to look quite nice, and the parking lots are definitely used to the max already. So overall, I think we're doing pretty okay. Just gonna change the cost of these parking lots right here, and then gonna end the episode. So if you liked it, please leave a like, please leave a comment. If you didn't and want to see something else, leave a comment as well. Consider subscribing. Thank you everyone for watching, and I hope to see you next time. Bye bye.